What's that? So. And I talked to Julie at the meeting, and I think she was gonna Zoom in, but I'm not sure, I just sent her the link.
I can unmute her.
Let us need to be here tonight, so all members that are going to be present are present. Yep. So we will call the meeting to order at 7:07. And the first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so we're to our first public comment of the evening. All right, Patrick.
Just quickly, if you guys get a chance to give an update on the open space ordinance, that would be nice. I guess that's the only comment I have. I did read the budget. I mean, any further comments on that?
Okay. Thank you. Okay. All right. That will be our public comment, first public comment portion. And the next item of business on the agenda is the budget public hearing. So we have our budget, it's in the packet. There's the numbery looking report that we have from our accounting software, and the final column there is the requested budget. And these are numbers that we worked through our previous meetings and with our accountant. And came up with these numbers. So we put it out there for the public. Hopefully the public has had an opportunity to look at it, as Patrick has. And I will open the public hearing to any comments from the public about the budget. Okay, well, hearing none, I will close the public hearing, the budget public hearing. Thank you, everyone, for taking a look at that. So, especially when this says there's no public input, we could approve the budget tonight. I think in the past, I can't remember if we do it after the public hearing or if we make it new business and approve it on its own. I think we new business. Okay. So I will make a request to add that when we get to that portion of the meeting. Okay, so that will conclude the public hearing portion for the 2022-2023 proposed budget. So we have the consent agenda now containing meeting minutes, presentation of bills, correspondence, and reports. I would like to fill out the supervisor's report, which is not in your packet, but I did put one together. And I had a couple things I wanted to mention. And Catherine Skull, our assessor, is on the call tonight, and I think, yeah, if you could, because she, her report in here is, when she's talking about order review coming up. So, hello, Catherine.
Hi, good evening.
So is this what you were thinking, is at this time, sort of address the report and talk about order review and the assessment?
Sure, whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, I had provided a memo and some preliminary reports that I hope are in your packet. These preliminary reports indicate the tentative totals of property value by property class as of the time that I had to run those in order to make it in your packet. Since then, we have shut everything down. We were waiting to receive all of the final personal property business statements. Those have been received, and now those notices have gone out to the businesses as well. These, I just want an opportunity, since I have some ear time, to remind people that these are tentative notices of assessment at this time. So they are tentative notices of both assessment and taxable value and the classification of property. Any of those things can be appealed to the Board of Review. If anyone has any concerns regarding any of those items, we encourage, first of all, calls to our office so that Susan or myself can help with an explanation. Sometimes that's all that's needed. A little understanding of the laws that we work with. But then certainly we would establish an appointment before the Board of Review. The Board of Review is scheduled to meet on Monday, March 14th. And this is also in everyone's, the notices that people received. So I'm just going to give a brief summary, but the notices that everyone, all property owners received, this would be in their notice as well. But the hearing times are encouraged by appointment so that we don't have, any unnecessary waiting or bunching up. It's been rather quiet actually in the last couple of years, but we do encourage appointments. That allows us to, kind of expedite everyone's time. So Monday from 9 to noon and 1:30 to 4:30, and then again on Wednesday from 1 until 4 and 6 until 9. It's important for people to realize that after the close of the Board of Review, these tentative values do become finalized and will result down the line. They are used in determination of tax bills. So really important that anytime anybody gets one of these, you don't stick it in your sock drawer. You just, you look at it and you call if you have any questions at all. I will say that the studies that we use for the assessments, both for vacant land sales and improved sales, and by improved I mean that there is some sort of a building value on it. So what we are reviewing to determine assessment value changes, it seems so far back now, but the sales study period for the 2022 assessments is actually April 1st of 2019 through the end of March of 2021. So, we closed off a while back. Any sales that may have occurred after that end of March period last year would be used in future sales studies. The other thing I need to mention is that we have a 3.3% consumer price index this year. That's a little higher than we've had in the last few years. Last year was 1.9%. The year before was 1.4%. So 3.3%. And that means that the taxable value, if we are not noting anything else new to the file or to the value, the taxable value by state law is increasing by 3.3%. The important thing to know is that the taxable value can't be higher than the assessed value. But in most cases where the same ownership has existed for a few years or more, the assessed value is going to outpace that taxable value. So even when there's a situation where the assessed value, and it's not this year, but the assessed value doesn't increase much, the taxable value still would be increasing by that rate of inflation, and that is built into the state law. So that may catch people a little bit unaware because it is something a little higher than in previous years. The last thing I want to mention, since I have some ears, is that we do have 2 property tax exemptions available through the state of Michigan and then also implemented here at the township level. That would be a hardship or poverty exemption for people that are lower income. It could be in general or have suffered a whatever may be a setback that is impacting their finances. And then there's also the disabled veterans exemption. So for both of those or any other questions about exemptions, I would encourage anyone to give our office a call. Both Susan Kellermeyer and myself try to be available. I know our posted business hours are 9 to noon, Monday through Thursday, but I'm often there beyond that and able to help people, especially at this time of year. So back to the reports that I've provided, those are looks at the total by property class. I have what the 40, it's up in the upper right column corner, it's the L4022, have it by assessed value and taxable value. So if you look at the, it says not a required state report right up at the top in big capitalized bold letters, L4022 taxable. This is not a required state report, but it's useful in that it records what the final 2021 taxable values were at the close of the March 2021 Board of Review and the changes that are being made by property class as a total and where we are now. I will say that the personal property section, which was right there in the middle, that changed substantially because we were waiting on those personal property accounts to finalize. So probably more accurate to look at the top part of that form titled real property. Real property would be land and buildings. Personal property is machinery and equipment that is required by businesses to report. So you can see that in 2021, the taxable value on real property was over 211 million. That's total for the township. That is, as you can see above, broken out by property class. So agricultural, commercial property, industrial, and residential. And then at the far right column, we have the tentative 2022 total. And so the residential is, I'm sorry, not the resident, the total value for 2022 is now tentatively at 228 million. This incorporates the 3.3% taxable value CPI. It incorporates any new construction. And it also includes any uncapping of the taxable value. So the year after a property transfers ownership, that taxable value uncaps. So that kind of picks up all of those things. The reason I'm spotlighting this is because it would be the taxable value that's used in the determination of future revenue for the township and also for all of the other taxing authorities. Again, that personal property, those numbers are not accurate as of today. They were accurate at the time of printing. So as the board is doing the budget and all of that, it's kind of helpful to know just for a general look at the direction things are going for this year. And that's all.
Wonderful. So much information. I've learned so much about assessing since we've been here.
More than you need to know.
Maybe, but it's good to know. It's good to know in a general way. So thank you for providing this, and thank you also for mentioning the hardship applications that we have, because I think sometimes people don't consider themselves a hardship, or and they really do maybe put themselves in situations where it's financially difficult, where it doesn't need to be. So I appreciate you bringing that up, and we should be thinking about that. And when we hear people here or out, just let people know discreetly that Catherine's available and there are policies, and as she said, sometimes it's just a discussion or explanation can help.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, does the board have any questions for Catherine about the upcoming board of review? Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And you said notice went out?
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. Okay. Well, I think I jumped out of order a little bit, but with Catherine's report to us, and I will talk just briefly on a few of the supervisor report that I wanted to talk about, and then we can move on. So one of the things I was going to mention was that I did communicate with Rebecca Harvey about the board approval of her scope of work. When I wrote this report last week, she was going to attend the March 3rd planning meeting. We worked out sort of a schedule of how we think it would go. She sent us something. I thought we could tighten it up a little bit, and she agreed. It's unfortunate that the meeting is not happening now for March 3rd, but I believe she's planning on coming to the next meeting. We'll have a half an hour time to gather information from the planning commission members, then to work on the revision of the ordinance, and then to bring that forward. So that's where that stands right now with Ms. Harvey. And let's see, so we're working on the budget, on the hardship guidelines. We are working to make sure that we're properly accounting for all of our monies and tap fees that are coming in. We've got a lot of development coming in quickly, and we need to make sure we have a consistent policy and form that we're working on. Rod and Bob Skull have been, and I have been kind of trying to work on that a little bit so that we're very clear. One of the things that I attended a Sylvan Township Water and Sewer Authority meeting, and I'm working on a subcommittee to work towards the dissolution of the authority. And just today, Supervisor Burns from Linden Township and their attorney and our attorney and myself had a Zoom meeting for approximately an hour and talked about how we envision this going. So Mr. False and the other attorney agreed that perhaps the best course right now is to sort of draft a letter of understanding that we were both interested in this. We're going to gather information on assets, gather information on other things from the accountant. And I think both of the parties at this point feel like it should be a pretty easy dissolution. One of the things is at that meeting, Pam asked if it would be possible for me to be appointed to fill the vacancy on the Water and Sewer Authority until this is completed. And I don't think it's a bad idea because I'm kind of involved in doing it anyway. I'm kind of going to these meetings. It's important that I have a clear understanding and are present at the meetings so that, you know, when Pam and I are talking with attorneys, I know what's going on. So I'm mentioning this because when we get to the agenda portion, I'm going to request that we add that as a new business item. I think that's all I want to mention. Also that there was a town hall meeting with County Commissioner Jason Mashieski, county staff and Mayor Pacheco regarding the closing of the court in Chelsea and whether or not the county was interested in keeping a footprint in western Washtenaw County. They're going to be moving this court to Saline, and that's quite a distance for anyone in our area to travel for court. So they were mentioning Z Road, and someone on the call said that's almost in the middle of the county as well. So really, in order for the court to have any presence, they need to do something. There needs to be some sort of compromise. So this was a great town hall meeting. The county was there, county commissioner was there. People spoke in favor of it. Judge Conlon was there. He didn't speak in his capacity as judge, but he reminded everyone that when district courts were formed, it was a way for you to to seek justice locally, whether it was through like a magistrate at that time or something. So the idea of closing the district court here and moving it miles away sort of is in the antithesis of the idea of the district court to begin with. I thought that was really compelling, so I just wanted to mention that. So if anyone feels so moved, you could write to County Commissioner Mashieski and say, hey, I really would like the county to consider keeping resources and access here in western Washtenaw County. He can use the support as they go forward and find out, unroll this plan that they have. Okay. I think that was really all that I wanted to highlight, and I will post that online. I apologize, didn't get it in the packet. Okay, so I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
By me, supported by Rod. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Okay, and then we are asking approval of the regular agenda. I would like to request that we add appointment to vacancy on Water Sewer Authority. And we should add a consideration of approval of the 2022-2023 budget. Anything else you'd like to add for tonight? Well, I will make a move that we approve the agenda with those two additions. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Okay, unfinished business. The National Flood Insurance Program. This is going to be ultimately moved on again right now, but Ms. Dickinson did get printouts of our flood maps that we will have here now at the township. They're big, there's several pages. It really shows by section where the floodplains are, which is pretty much along Letts Creek. They are the same floodplain maps that are on the Washtenaw County maps on their county site. If you go to the maps, you can do layers, and I believe floodplain is one of the layers, and if you click on it, it's basically the same map. These are much more, detailed and dialed in. You can go in with the magnifying glass on the website. But these are here for anyone who wants to look at them, and we can also have a link to the Washtenaw maps. When and if we want to do this, we will need an ordinance resolution, which is a special resolution for an interagency building official, which we have with the construction agency. And then there's a third piece, which is an application. So after a lot of go-arounds with this and looking at different ordinances, I believe the sample ordinance the state has is the one they're recommending, and I believe our attorney agrees with. So he has these documents right now. They're pretty standard. So this just continues to be something that we're working on. It's not high on the priority list, so it sort of is rolling along in the background, but I feel soon we should have some resolution on this with the ordinance if this is something the board wants to do. But for now, you can review the sample ordinance because this will be likely the one that we're using. So I think in keeping with what we've done in the past, I'll make a motion to table the flood insurance program.
Also,
Okay, thank you, Ron. Does anybody have any questions or input? Anything you want me to pass on? Okay. All in favor of tabling, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The updated fee schedule unfortunately also continues to be something that's. Wait a minute. I don't see a thing. I think we were going to remove that. For the time being, I haven't had a chance to look at it. We were initially wanting to make some changes to reflect the increase in payments to the Planning Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals. Also, we have a rate study from IA, the Infrastructure Alternatives, that they finished, and it had one of the things in the study was different cost for different size meters. I believe that was in the study. And so I talked with Bob Skull, and we should incorporate that also into the fee schedule. So this will be hopefully next month we can come with something, and we need to get those numbers in quickly too, because all this development is coming, and so we need to make sure we've got our numbers right. And the fee schedule is what is out there for the public and for people to look at. So we need to make sure it's accurate. Okay, so I will make a motion to table the fee schedule.
second.
Was there Rod support or Sandy? I didn't hear who.
Kind of in unison.
Take your pick. We'll give it to Sandy. Okay, thank you, Sandy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Technology to allow the viewing of the board meeting. I don't think we have anything today, but we did have health systems out And they came out and looked at the room, and all four of us were here when he came by. And I don't know about you guys, but I think we were all very impressed. Really impressed with them and what they can do. And he really looked at the room and had an idea for cameras, where they would go. So yeah, very exciting opportunity to really pull us into the current age, absolutely. So he's gonna give us a quote for a couple different scenarios. You know, we can go really big, we can go kind of big. So he's gonna give us some different numbers, but he said they are swamped right now, as you would imagine. Everyone is trying to get this technology in. So I believe he said it would be at least 2 weeks before he could get us the quote. So that's okay, and we will wait for that from him. Yes, Sandy.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So when he was here, did we mention anything about assisted listening device? Did we mention that?
Okay, so he'll include that.
Okay.
He's gonna give us a base model and then add-ons. Okay, I believe that.
That's a good point. I'm gonna make sure.
I will make a motion to table this.
Second.
Okay. All right, all in favor of tabling, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Excuse me. Okay, the IA contract. Looks like maybe Bob stole that. We were going to be ready to ask for an approval of this tonight, and then we looked at it closer, and right on the front page, it says, between the Water and Sewer Authority is listed as client, but that should be Sylvan Township. Thank you. Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay, I got one, thank you. We sent this to Rob Fall, which is always a good practice to send your contracts to the attorney. And he had a couple questions, and he said, I had the same questions in a different municipality with infrastructure alternatives. And I think it was like the wording on the separation clause, where the 60 or 90-day clause where we could separate. There was additional language he wanted that would state that when, if that happened, that we would pay for services rendered up through that point, but not any further. So he said, I know we agreed on this. So he said he would like to have a little additional time to find that language and ask IA if they could add it to the contract. I was concerned because this contract has already expired in February. And I got Bob Skull, and he came down to the office with me, and while the attorney was on the phone, we told him, and he said he didn't think it would be a big deal for another month. He thought I'd be happy with that. And then we can get a clean copy with the appropriate client on it. And Mr. Thal can talk to them, and whatever it was he wanted to see can be addressed. So this went a little sideways, not sideways, but a little different than I thought it was gonna go tonight. We were ready, but I think it's appropriate to wait for him. And I think that I'm happy that Mr. Skull thought that wouldn't be upsetting to IA too much, and I can let them know too, so. So then I guess I will be making a motion to table the IA contract to March. Thank you, Raj. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. All right, new business contract for online payment of services. So this is from Point and Pay, and I think some of you will recall we had a representative from Point and Pay come and do a real brief presentation about their company, and at our previous board member, we also passed a resolution that the township would take payments by financial transaction device for certain transactions. So now we would come to the time we would choose someone to do that, and I think Point and Pay was, the board was impressed with them and liked, and I think they were really the main people out there doing this, I guess, is to say, and are people we have heard have had the most experience with this company. So Amanda, you got with them and they sent this contract for us. Well, having just talked about contracts and attorneys, I wonder if it would be beneficial to have Paul look it over. You know, I feel like so many of these contracts have real standard boilerplate things that attorneys look for. So hopefully it wouldn't take him too long. I kind of wish I would have thought of that a couple weeks ago. We could have had him look at it prior to this, but. Oh, that's true. They just get it, couldn't they? Yeah. We can't, I was looking at these, what is the numbers in here? Are they, you just, so the service fees. Like, I feel like when I look at a contract, I'm usually like, looking for the part where.
As to what the cost.
Right.
Right, I didn't really see anything either.
It doesn't say. I guess I would do it for all of us to have a. Yeah.
I remember we discussed.
Yeah, that's right. $500. Yeah. Okay, well, I think it will allow us some time to look through this, because Amanda, like you said, we did just get this from him last week. I don't know if anybody's had a lot of time to look at it. And then the attorney can look at it as well.
I will make a motion to table contract for online payments for services.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Resolution to establish officer salaries. So the elected officials, we have to have our salary set by resolution. And the resolutions in front of you are resolutions we've used in the past, and these numbers are drawn from the budget. And each resolution needs to be separate for each office. So I'll just start with the top one here, resolution 2202. Whereas according to MCL 41.953, in a township that does not hold an annual meeting, the salary for officers composing the township board shall be determined. The salary for officers composing the township board shall be determined by the township board. And whereas the township board deems that an adjustment in the salary of the office of supervisor is warranted, therefore be it resolved that as of April 1, the salary 2022, the salary of the office of supervisor shall be as follows, which is $32,100. And I will offer this resolution.
Support it.
You. Motion by Kennedy, supported by Nikki Ballard. On a roll call vote, the following voted aye. So we will do a roll call vote. Sandy? Aye. Brad?
Aye.
Kennedy, aye. Amanda?
Aye.
Okay, resolution is adopted. Next one is resolution 2203, same whereas township does not hold an annual meeting. Salary for officers proposed in the township board shall be determined by the township board. And the township board determines that an adjustment in salary of clerk is warranted. And we have sort of done this in a different style. So the clerk base salary is $37,450. Then additionally, per election, there is a $3,000 additional pay for when there is an election. So I will offer this resolution. Thank you. Yes. We'll do a roll call vote. Sandy? Aye. Rob?
Aye.
Aye. Amanda?
Aye.
Okay. The resolution is adopted. Resolution 2204, whereas according to MCL 4195.3, the township does not hold annual meeting. The salary for officers composing the township board shall be determined by the township board. And whereas the township board deems an adjustment in the salary of the office's treasurer is warranted, therefore be it resolved that as of April 1st, 2022, the salary of the office of treasurer shall be as follows: $32,100. This resolution is offered. I will offer this resolution. Okay. Roll call vote. We'll switch it up this time. We'll go Amanda.
Aye.
Kathy, aye. Rod?
Aye.
Sandy?
Aye.
Thank you. The resolution is adopted. Final resolution in this packet, 2205. Whereas according to MCL 4195.3, township does not hold annual meetings. Salary for officers composing the township board should be determined by the township board. The township board deems an adjustment in the salary of the office of trustee is warranted. Therefore, be it resolved that of April 1st, 2022, the salary of the office of trustee shall be as follows: $5,350. This resolution, I will offer this resolution. All right. Amanda?
Aye.
Kathy, aye. Rod?
Aye.
Sandy?
Aye.
All right, that resolution is adopted. Okay. So which item did I have for you? Okay, okay. All right, very good. I would like to make a motion that myself, Kathleen Kennedy, be appointed to the Sylvan Township vacancy on the Sylvan Township Water and Sewer Authority. Any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. All right, thank you. And then next, we were going to actually consider the approval of the 2022-2023 budget, which we published the public hearing for, had the public hearing tonight, hearing no objections. I think we should move forward with approval so we can be ready to cut checks April 1st. So I will make a motion that we approve the 2022-2023 budget as presented. All right, is there any discussion? All right, this is, let me see here. So there's two parts to our budget sort of. So we're approving the budget at the numbers that we did. There's also this general appropriations act, which is in here, which is sort of this wordy kind of budget document. And this is something that all municipalities are, need to pass. So perhaps we can pass the budget and then also pass this as a separate, as a resolution, because they go hand in hand. So we had a motion by me, supported by Rod, to approve the 2023 budget. Let's do a vote on that, and then I'd like to vote on the resolution here also. But, okay, so motion by Kennedy to approve 2023 budget, supported by Rod. No any discussion? Then all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. And then this General Appropriations Act, it looks like you assigned it a resolution number, which is great. Normally we read resolutions aloud. I think this is really lengthy, so I'll just sort of hit the highlights. This is a resolution to establish the General Appropriations Act for Sylvan Township, to define the powers and duties of the Sylvan Township officers in relation to the administration of the budget, and to provide remedies for refusal or neglect with the requirements of this resolution. Section 1 is the title. Section 2 identifies the chief administration officer as the supervisor. Section 3 recognizes the clerk as the fiscal officer. Section 4 talks about our public hearing on the budget. We will need to plug the dates in the when it was published in the newspaper, and the budget hearing was today. Public hearing on the proposed budget. Section 5 talks about estimated revenues in the various funds. Section 6 talks about the millage levy, which is not going to change. Section 7 is estimated expenditures by department. Not a line item, but really just a department level overview. Section 8 is adoption of budget by reference. Section 9 is adoption of budget by cost center. Section 10 is appropriations are not a mandate to spend. So just because we budgeted it doesn't mean we have to spend it. Section 11 is transfer authority, where the chief administrative officer, which is the supervisor, shall have the authority to make transfers among the various cost centers or departments without prior board approval, if the amount to be transferred does not exceed $1,000 of the appropriation item from which the transfer is to be made, whichever is less. And I think that's the number we had in here last year, perhaps the year before as well, for $1,000. Section 12 talks about periodic fiscal reports. We report quarterly until our final quarter of the budget year, and then monthly. Limit on obligations is section 13. Section 14 talks about budget monitoring. Section 15 talks about violations of the act. And section 16 is board adoption. So other than adding in those dates under section 4, that would be a change you would make, but I will make a motion that the board pass the General Appropriations Act for Sylvan Township, resolution number 2207.
Can I make one more point?
Yeah.
I think that the transfer authority, $1,000 is really pittance when it comes to the budget.
Mm.
Me personally, I'd like to see it higher, like maybe 5. Maybe 10. But I think it should be more than $1,000.
I agree. I was thinking about that this afternoon.
Yeah, that's
That 1,000, how long has it been $1,000?
Yeah.
15 years. Maybe back then, maybe $1,000 would have been useful, but anymore, hardly anything is $1,000. So I'm not sure that it is as useful as it could be. So I agree with Rod.
Okay. Yeah.
I think 5,000 is, fine.
I'm fine with
Very good. Yeah, no, thank you. And I appreciate that. And I remember when Tom was here, something came up. I think it was like the firewall and he needed to make a quick financial and it was over 1,000. I think it was under 5, but it was over. So I appreciate that because things, yeah, dollars don't go as far as they used to. Okay, so with the addition of the dates under section 4 and changing the transfer authority from 1,000 to 5,000. Okay, so I will amend my motion to approve the document with those 2 changes.
I'll second.
Since it's a resolution, we need a roll call vote. Sandy,
Aye.
Rob,
Aye.
Kathy, aye. Amanda?
Aye.
Opposed, saying nay, nobody's here to say. Okay, then we're going to declare the motion carried and the resolution duly adopted the first day of March 2022. I feel like Kurt missed possibly the shortest meeting we've ever had. So unless I've missed anything on the agenda, I believe we're done with the agenda portion, so we could go to public comment. I have a couple things I'm gonna mention at the end here of the board of trustee member comment, but we'll go to the second public comment.
Actually, I noticed in the board packet, kind of late in this meeting, a response to an email that I had sent out to the 3-7 group. And I want to thank Carol for the response and appreciate that it was published. So I understand the response quite well.
What's that?
Yeah, it was sent to Catherine somehow about including it here.
Oh, into your packet? Oh,
Yeah.
gosh. Maybe you did have my packet. Yeah, that was, which we were, okay.
I mean, it's important, I think, even if it was an accident,
Yeah.
I think it's important that we reassure the township residents in general that the planning commission is functioning, and this is, you know, a temporary blip, I think. I've gotten actually calls personally from people, and I couldn't say anything to them. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So it is a little bit reassuring, so I appreciate that. There's something else we talked about revenue and the budget. I wanted to just make an observation
Okay.
about that. Now I have to flip to a different page here. About where the township's revenues actually come from. It may not be apparent to everybody, and I'm sure if you all look at the budget, you probably all know, but I like to kind of read it in public for the wise people. It's kind of surprising to some people. Our millage is not the biggest source of revenue. Actually, state revenue sharing is higher than our millage. So the state revenue sharing is number 1, millage revenue is number 2, and then behind that, the third one is the charges for services for planning. That brings in quite a bit too, and it's not always known, of course, because when there are more projects brought into the township, there are more planning services required, and that revenue line item probably goes up, although the workload also goes up. But it is a major component of what we're looking at. It's actually number 3. So when you're revising the fee schedule, of course, I'm sure you have that in mind as well.
Yeah.
It's always surprised me. I just wanted to make a note.
I appreciate that, Patrick, and you're right. It is the millage that we have for our operating mills here at the township is less than 1.94, I think. So, and that's for everybody here. That's for the building, that's for all the people, that's for all of this stuff that's here. So that's pretty small. And, well, I'll put my comments on pause till I get to it, because we're still in the public.
If I could just add to that, people think their tax bills are high, right? But only a small percentage of it actually goes to the county.
Absolutely.
The rest of it goes to all kinds of other stuff, and I hope people keep that in mind.
I appreciate that. Catherine did a nice pie chart for us. I think last year really showed, your tax dollars and where they go. And yeah, the township wedge is pretty small next to the school district, the Kappa, the intermediate school district, the Chelsea school district, all the places your monies go. So yeah, I appreciate that reminder, because I think people pay them here, so they feel like all that money is coming here, but a fraction of that money is actually coming here. A small fraction.
That was a bigger distribution check, set to many entities than what we get. Just for one distribution, so.
Okay, either, yes, yeah.
Since Kathleen mentioned pie chart, I just want the record to show that there's no punch key here today.
There were some in the kitchen earlier, we could go see them.
They're always there earlier,
Yeah, of course.
but I just want to know if when you guys were talking with Health Systems, if open caption popped up in the conversation on your
I don't recall that either.
on your when you publish the meeting blurb at the bottom, it says, if you give us a couple days notice, we will provide a signer or for, hearing impaired or vision impaired, whatever. Zoom does really good open caption, real-time stuff. And if you could just enable that and display it in the room, then you would also check that box for anyone that wanted it, and you wouldn't have to jump through any hoops if someone did call you out on wanting it or needing it.
Well, and it would be great, I use those at home with my, I get used to seeing them on there. So that would be a great low-cost way of having
It's
that
free.
there.
It's-
Yeah.
It's for free.
And we were talking about, getting a bigger screen, whether it would be wall mounted or on a cart you could push around, something. So that would be great. And that would be visual and Sandy, maybe that would be a little, I forget the term you said earlier, but the hearing impaired, like the,
Assisted listening.
assisted listening, yes. Would that sort of fill that niche? And that would be so helpful to so many people.
I think having that all the time, we should just have it all the time.
Yeah, we do a lot of work for the university, and almost all of their meetings have to be open captioned.
Yeah.
And if they don't, and someone raises a fuss, a lot of people get in trouble really, really fast.
Sure.
And you're
yeah.
right, it is so simple. It's just take one little piece and it's there.
And then just displaying that version in the room, and you're covered.
Yeah.
But the assisted listening is
Nice.
separate thing
Right.
for people who can hear, just not hear well.
Right.
Where
Oh,
the
I see.
caption is more for people who can't hear at all.
Mhm.
Well, I think just having the caption on the screen, helps when you might not be able to hear the speaker. I have it on my TV, so
Mhm.
you don't always get all of the nuances of what somebody is saying real time, but if you can read it, then you stay on top of it. So thanks for mentioning that. It's been really helpful to us.
I got a comfy chair now too. I feel like I'm moving up. That's all.
All right. Any public comment? All right, so Board of Trustee comments. So I'll just jump out in front here. So yeah, Patrick, I was talking with Carol. I didn't see all of the, I think there was some free Sylvan talk, but we wanted to make sure, as you said, that people understood the circumstances that sort of came up to this point. And it's not always fresh in my head what the planning commission did in February or what. So it was helpful for Carol to sort of put together this guideline, and it really just sort of talks about like that, the PC had the special meeting in January, the regular January meeting, it was a light agenda. But the recommendation was to do the public hearing for the zoning on the 27th. And then the 27th was canceled because, in talks with our attorney, there was more information that needed to be gathered to work on the ratification of the zoning map. And so then they called a special meeting for March 3rd, for the conditional rezoning. And then that was canceled due to a lack of quorum. I believe, and I think, Carol says two people were previously going to be absent. One was on vacation, one had another obligation. And then 2 additional members had medical situations come up that did not allow them to attend at this time. So that's, then that's 4 people missing out of 7, and that's not a quorum, so they couldn't have the meeting. And I think when meetings are special meetings and they're not on that pre-scheduled date, it's tricky. It's tricky to get everybody done. Everybody on the planning commission has the 4th Thursday on their calendar set aside. But it can be tricky to get all those people together. So it's a bit of an unfortunate circumstance, hindsight, if we looked at it now, the way it shook out, we could have maybe moved some things in the order, but we have to live life forwards. Sometimes when we look back, we see ways that maybe it could have gone, but these are the situations and the meetings and conflicts that people had, which put us where we are today. So, the good news is Rebecca Harvey is flexible, and I think she's going to be coming. Next regular scheduled meeting is March 24th. She's going to come to that and have a half an hour, to gather information again from the planning commission so that she can, get what they would like to see and then incorporate that into a draft, and then bring that forward for the planning commission and then ultimately the board. That's the situation on that. I don't relish thinking about how long this has been around, and it's not a feel-good moment, I think, really, for anybody. The feel-good part of it, I guess, is that I feel like we're on a good trajectory right now. I think Rebecca has been really helpful, really bringing some fresh ideas. So I feel like we're in a positive trajectory. I wish maybe it had happened, say, a year ago, 18 months ago, but this is where we are now. So we'll just have to move forward as best we can, and hopefully these were just, unfortunate blips for this special meeting, but everybody will be back on track for March 24th, and we can get the ball rolling on the open space. That's my goal. I want to see us actually move it forward.
And the public hearing for the Pierce Road is likely to happen on the same day. So
I think the Pierce Road, I think the rezoning is, and I think those will probably be the only 2 things on the agenda. So I would imagine Rebecca will be first because she has a very, finite amount of time and is just going to gather information. And then, I think the rezoning will go on the 24th. It's a public hearing, so there's, a lot of work that has to be done in publications and mailings and things like that. So, I think that's the goal at this point. That goes, both those items will be okay. Did I say anything was that, okay. So yeah, and that kind of parlays a little into, some of you may have seen in the newspaper recently, we probably among a lot of other townships published that we were notified that we could become a charter township. We qualify now to become a charter township. I don't know that anybody here is really relishing this thought.
I have.
You have.
I have thought about it.
Well, it's, we were required to publish in the newspaper that the state is recognizing that due to the number of residents here, which I think was 2,000, over 2,000, you are able to become a charter township, and we were required to publish it. We're not necessarily required to take action on this. But it's a discussion point, and we have, it has come up. We can get on MTA and look at what the differences would be and what that would mean for us, because we don't, right now, we're general law township. You're either a general law township or you're a charter township. So this would be a step. I don't know if it's we would have to determine whether it's a step we wanted to do or what that would mean. But I want to mention that I think we all up here have had conversations that Sylvan Township is not the little Sylvan Township that it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. Like it or not, we have a lot of developers coming. We have a lot of things going on. We have a lot more residents. That's really increasing the workload on everybody. And I feel like right now is particularly a time where we need to be savvy and need to be looking out, because the developers are here. These are consent judgments. They're gonna move their stuff. They're gonna do stuff, and we need to protect the township, protect the residents, make sure we're financially, getting all the monies that are due to us. And frankly, when we're running on a part-time from 9 to noon, 4 days a week, it's just, it's not possible to do that work and all of the other work that we're doing here as well. And I think, before I came here, I could imagine, I would think, well, what do they do up there all day? But it's a very busy place. And the bigger we get, the busier we are. Half of my day could be, more than half my day could just be responding to emails and phone calls and residents. And some of them are in these new subdivisions. Westchester, they're unhappy about the trash collection. Chelsea Hillcrest, they're unhappy with the way the Art Coliseum looks in the back. It's all trashy and trash. So there's a lot of, if we want to be responsive to the residents and we want to, there's only so much time in the day. So I just want to put this out there that I think it's going to be, I think Sylvan's moving in a little bit of a biggering direction. And I think we're going to need to maybe expend more to make sure that we have qualified people who are protecting the residents. We've talked about a project manager here on and off for a long time. Or I know there's been chatter about a township manager, because right now, without that, frankly, it's Carol or, myself dealing with these developers. Carol has a lot of experience. I don't have so much, but I think, and we all make a good team, but, I feel like it's a crucial time. I would hate for something to get overlooked that then, 5 years down the road, people move into the development and the roads messed up or something's wrong. I just really feel like we need to keep eyes on things. I want people to know we're working hard and the mountain of work keeps growing. So just going to defer the conversation about charter. We can bring that up at the next meetings. I just brought it up today, but I think we all are feeling that crunch of we're not just the small rural township that we were at one time. Yes.
So when you are a general township, there's a lot of things at your disadvantage. One thing is if a neighboring community can actually access your property, in this charter township, they can't do that. And there was some talk earlier in the year about a township manager. Well, in order to have a township manager, you have to be a charter township. When you move into being a charter township, then you have additional board members. I think there are 2 additional trustee members. But the thing that concerns me a lot is that this is like a beehive here. There is so much stuff going on inside that unless you're here, you don't realize that. I worry about us because there's certain professional fields that we don't have anybody to do. And that's one of the reasons I say Rod needs to be paid for doing the Zoom meetings. While it is unlikely that the Michigan Department of Labor is going to show up at Sylvan Township and say, oh my gosh, you're working all these people and not paying them extra to do jobs that are outside of their original job description. That's my concern, but there's no watch guard. There's nobody who looks after that kind of stuff. I mean, you're better off to do things by the letter of the law. And we don't have like the oversight of a higher level manager. I mean, Kathy does a wonderful job as a supervisor, but she's, you know, she can't do everything. So moving to talking about being a charter township is a big leap because you're going to have to pay more for trustees. And it's in some ways it's going to cost you more money, but in other ways it protects you. So I look forward to our talking about this.
Thank you. Those are a couple of changes right off the bat.
Oh, yeah.
Additional trustees and all of that too. So that's an issue. And then I think even if we don't do anything with the charter township, I want people to, I want to say that I think there's going to need to be bigger monies budgeted for these positions in the future going forward. Even if we're staying in general law township, like I'm saying, it's the developers are still coming, people are still coming, there's more voters, there's more people, there's more complaints and things to tend to. So, you know, we've been pretty consistent other than cost of living increases, I think. Well, I think there was one year where there was a jump. But you know, a lot of times we compare ourselves to Linden Township, and I don't think we're Linden Township anymore. Linden Township really isn't going to grow a lot. They don't have the 94 exchanges.
Right.
They don't have the attractiveness that we have. And we, you know, we as can control what we can control, and you guys know that. But really, if somebody's got a parcel of land and they want to sell it to a developer and the zoning is right and these other things, like we can't stop that ball from rolling as much as sometimes we would like to. So just want to plant the seed. It's growing. We need more help here, whether it's more hours, whether it's, you know, which, you know, if we increase office hours, then you're going to have to increase what you're paying people as well. But we're all putting in way more than 12 hours a week. And you know, these are real jobs that we're doing, so they need to be compensated.
So one more thing I want to add, while I would love for us to have a township manager, I can tell you that it's an expensive, it's a highly knowledgeable position. So they oversee absolutely everything. 20 years ago in the city of Ypsilanti, the township manager made $146,000. So that was 20 years ago. I mean, certainly, but there is a standard rate of pay for somebody who has that training and experience. So while I would love to have a township manager, I don't know that we can afford it. What can we do to be able to afford that? That's a 20-year ago salary. So, you know, it's way more than that now. But it's something we can talk about.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't want to scare anybody tonight. Nothing's, you know, we're not doing anything imminently, but the charter thing did come to us, and I just want to let people know that I think we're going to see a time where, in order to attract, retain good people, we're going to have to step up the pay scale, I think, a little bit to be comparable, you know, and realistic with what the jobs are. So. Yeah. Okay, so. Does anybody, any other board members have?
I gotta go with it.
Okay.
today was, everything went to the county for the taxes, and I'm glad to say that I was the first one to get everything into them. And we did pretty good this year. We only had 84 non-payers. 17 of those were DNR. So that's true. That's never happened before. And here they are, they didn't pay this year. And we can't charge an interest. Just a little.
What do you mean by DNR? You're not the-
Yeah.
No, no, you mean the other DNR.
Yeah. Payment in lieu of taxes, DNR codes. They determine what they're gonna pay on each parcel. Some are higher, some are lower. Kind of balances out within $2 to $3, $4 maybe.
Tax season in the books for you. Very good.
And reports grown.
All right, I feel like you're forgetting something, but I looked over my, oh, okay, briefly, because I've been a little long-winded tonight. Thursday night, there is a CAPDART meeting, and CAPDART is the Chelsea Area Regional Planning, Dexter Area Regional Planning Committee. It's supervisors and mayors of the cities all get together. It's quarterly. This Thursday, March 3rd, it's a Zoom meeting, and there will be a representative from Consumers Energy there. And I have been receiving several complaints from residents regarding Consumers Power and the relocation of the line. So that will be interesting. And I talked to the attorney briefly about it today, and he doesn't really think we need to be in a legal wrangle with them. It's really the residents that need to, wrestle with consumers, but that possibly I could facilitate a meeting with consumers and the residents who have concerns. So we'll see, but Thursday night is the CAPDART meeting, and consumers will be there. We can post the Zoom link on the website for anybody. Yeah, Carol.
I wanted to remind you to mention the work being done on Hayes Road, but
That was actually my second thing.
Sorry.
But no, we're on the same wavelength. No, not at all. Perfect. So, yeah, so Consumers Energy is going to be doing construction on the Hayes Road station. They call it the Chelsea Boys School station. It's kind of over by St. Louis Center. So it sounded like they're going to be doing some work over there. They'd be inside the fencing and taking it out and capping it and then replacing the fencing. And he left me a voicemail. He said this work will be in June, but he didn't give me specific dates, and maybe they're in the emails. I'd have to look through it, but I will report on that next month, since we'll be getting closer to June at that point. But I imagine it's going to be another instance where if you're near it, you're going to hear the jet noises. You may notice some other things. So I'll clarify with him, but they're going to be doing some work over there on Hayes Road. So if you know anybody, it's going to be in June. And we will keep you posted on that. Thank you, Carol. Didn't want to forget that. No, that's fine. I always need help remembering stuff. All right. Well, then I guess I will offer a motion to adjourn at 8:23.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. Thank you, everybody.
Everybody.
All right, good night.
Hey, Patrick.